sort of stuff. Well, last year, I think it was beginning of February that I brought this message. And so I was looking at different things back at the end of last year when I was putting things together, and I came across this sermon, and I didn't think about any of you. I thought about me, and I thought, wow. I went through it, and I thought, have I grown in the past year? Have I changed in the past year? Or am I basically still kind of the same person? Do you ever do that? Do you ever evaluate yourself? Do you sit and, take stock of who you are as a person? What do people say about me? What do they think about me? Am I reliable and dependable? If I'm not, have I done anything in the past year to help change that? Am I an honest person, right? Or do I kind of just tell people, what they want to hear? Have I done things in my life to change that? And so I looked at this message, and this is such an important area of our life. I'm talking about the tongue, managing our tongue. And why I think this is so important because it is a reflection, and we'll talk about this in the message, it's absolutely 100% a reflection of who you are. You can't hide it. Like you can't hide yourself. When you start talking, right, it's revealing who you are. Okay? And so this is so you can think back and you can think of this past year, and would people that met me, they say there's been a significant kind of change in my life, because language is an amazing thing, right? We're all born with the I'll call it a gift for language, a gift for the potential to learn language. But it's surprising to me how incredibly unskilled people are in their language. And I don't mean technical grammar, that's not what I mean, okay? And we'll talk about that. But they're unskilled when it comes to communicating with others. Often, a lot of this stuff comes from just my own life. We choose our words without very much forethought. Okay, words just come to our head, and a lot of us, right? They just kind of spill out. Obviously, our emotions affect our speech. Isn't that true? Right? When you're going through something, it affects the words that you use, the language that you use. I would say this, for a lot of us, we talk way more than we need to, right? You all testify to that, right? When it's time to go and I'm still talking, and way more words than maybe I need. Along with that, we all listen very poorly. Would you agree with these as general ideas, right? Generally, we all talk a little bit too much. Generally, we're not as good of listeners as we should. And in our culture today, it's amazing how communication has grown so exponentially, hasn't it, with social media and everything. And it's just crazy out there what people are putting out there on the internet, what people are saying on the internet. It used to be that when you talked, you couldn't take those things back, right? It was really interesting. I was watching The Office the other day, and Michael told something true about one of the people in the office, and then and he shouldn't have done that. So to make it right, is he told a false rumor about every single one of them. That way he could go, oh, well, see, they're all false, and so none of these are true. And then, but one thing he says, then once it's out there, his logic was, once it's out there, you can't take it back. So what you need to do is cover your tracks. And so he laid down these lies about everybody. But that's not right? And so once it is out there, it's out there. And now we have the internet. And, I know, the young people today think they can, like they Snapchat, and once somebody sees it and they close it, it's gone. Well, it gives this false idea that I can say whatever I want because later on it's gone. But it's actually not, is it? It's always there. It's always there in the minds of those who have seen it, who have heard it, who have read it. And so the average American will speak enough words to fill 66 books of 800 pages each in his lifetime. The average American man speaks 6,000 words a day. Wow. And it says the average American woman speaks 9,000 words a day. What do you think about that? You think that's true? A man excited about the results of the study and wanting to prove that he had been right all along, that women speak more than men, when he showed the study to his wife, she replied, well, it's because I have to repeat everything that I say. I know that's true in my house. I have to admit. But this is a difficult subject, don't you agree? It's a difficult topic. It's difficult, your language and your speech. As a matter of fact, in the Bible, we're going to be looking at James. Kind of says it's impossible. Not impossible in the sense that, then don't worry about trying. Don't worry about changing or whatever. But it's very, very difficult. Listen what he says in James 3:2. It says, we all stumble in many ways. Anybody with me? We all stumble in many ways. If anyone is never at fault in what he says, he is a perfect man, able to keep his whole body in check. It's a great goal, don't you think? Great goal. We're all at fault in what we say. But the trouble is, and we'll talk about this later in the message, the trouble is the reason that's true is that your language is the reflection of who you are. And so none of us are perfect. And our language reflects that. But the question is this, why do we need, come on, Jeff, really, why do I need to, so I joke around or why do I need to tame my tongue? Why do I need to do that? What's the big deal anyways with this? Well, I think that's where the Bible comes in, right? I think James gives us some good reasons why we want to manage our mouth. Now, I think there's two different things going on here at the same time, okay? One is, if your language is a reflection of your heart, the only way to change your language is what? Change your heart, okay. However, that being said, it's also true that you can also learn, without your heart being changed yet, with allowing room for God to come in and change you from the inside out, to start to be careful about your language, because there are some truths about how you talk, okay? Let's look at those right now. Number one is this. My tongue can direct the course of my life. I want you to watch just a quick video. Do you have that video, Lydia? Do you have it?
It's going sideways, so
No, don't worry about it, okay? I called Sherry yesterday, and I asked her to send me a couple of videos, and so we tried to get it to work here, but she has a horse farm, and so she sent a video showing different bits that you put into a horse's mouth. And there's different bits for different reasons, but the point is this. The point is, when you put a bit, now a horse is 1,500, 2,000 pounds, right? And horses can be, there's something that horses get sometimes. It's called big horse syndrome. Anybody hear of that? When they realize they're big, and they're bigger than you, right? Sometimes they don't know that. It's like the story of an elephant. They put a big chain around an elephant's leg, and they put a big, huge stake in the ground, and the elephant can't get away. After he's trained so much, they just take a rope and put it around his leg and a little peg and put it in the ground, and the elephant won't move, right? It's been trained that way. And so when you put a bit in the horse's mouth, right, a lot of times there's a straight bit. Sometimes when a horse is a little bit more aggressive, it's a broken bit in the middle, so when you pull on it, it twists like this and hits the horse's, the roof of their mouth. It's called a broken snaffle, it's called, right? And so, but this bit can control this 2,000-pound animal. And so in the Bible, what's happening is that the metaphor that's being used, a couple different ones, I really like this one because we can kind of relate to this one, is that the tongue is like that bit. That bit, I can control the course of that horse's journey with this bit. Make sense? And so what James is saying is, your tongue is just like that. Your tongue is like that. You think that you're in control of it, right? But what it's saying is your tongue is revealing, right, you, And it's going to direct the course of your life. I'll read it, James 3:3. When we put bits in the mouths of horses to make them obey us, we can turn the whole animal. It says this, or take ships as an example. Although they are so large, they are driven by strong winds. They are steered by a very small rudder wherever the pilot wants it to go. James 3:4. What you say, listen to me, what you say, how you say, can either make a friend or an enemy. It's about what you say. You can make so you meet somebody new, right? You can either by how you say it. I'll tell you, so Friday, I was getting an inspection on my house, my electrical inspection. The guy comes in and, nice enough guy, and he's telling me, well, I think you need to add something there, and you need to add something there. And so I go, so he's the inspector. I got to do what he says, right? I just got to do what he says. So you put one there and you put one there. What should my answer have been? Okay. Not, why? I don't want one there. No, you got to put one there. I don't understand why. You got to put one there. And then, he's talking about different things. Everything looks good. He goes, I don't see any smoke detectors. I go, you don't? I go, where are you looking? Now, I'm being excuse my language, I'm being a smartass, right? Listen, my language wasn't making a friend. I'm just being honest with you. It wasn't making a friend. And I was thinking about this message. I think after he left, I go, why do I have to be like that? My point is, from last year I gave this message, and I think a year later, I'm still a wise guy. I don't need to be a wise guy. This is the inspector. I got to do what he says. There's no getting around. As a matter of fact, if I continue down that path, he can make it what? More difficult. So why do I do that? And listen, your language will do what? It will direct the course of your life. It'll direct the course of your life. What you say can make your marriage wither or can make it blossom. Agreed? By what you say, friends. Here's the truth. We shape our words. We shape our language. We shape our speech. And then that very language and words and speech does what? It shapes us. It forms us. Here's the thing. We all have role models, right? The trouble is this. People are choosing you as a role model. And you have no say in it. Do you know that? You have no say. They're choosing you for whatever reason. Whatever reason you're influencing their life, they're choosing you as a role model. How will you live? How will you behave? It might be to your children, grandchildren, your friends' children, right? And they're choosing you. So we need to be careful what we model to others, how we use our words, how we talk. Okay, second thing. Second thing is this, that my tongue. My tongue can destroy what I have, but it doesn't stop there. Not just what I have. My language can destroy my future hopes and dreams. Do you know that? Your very language can destroy something in the future. Potentials in the future. Your future hopes, your future dreams. James 3:5-6 says this. Likewise, the tongue is a small part of the body, but it makes great boast, doesn't it? Like the guy that came to my house the other day. Oh, I could do anything in construction. Well, that's great. I'm troubled. I don't know how to put a furnace in. Well, I can't do that. Well, you just said you could do anything. The tongue makes big boast, doesn't it? It says, consider what how a great forest is set on fire by just a small spark. The tongue is also a fire, a world of evil among the parts of the body. It corrupts the whole person, sets the whole course of his life on fire, and is itself set on fire by hell. What's he saying here? Well, I think he's saying a lot of things. One of the things he's saying is, you can really burn people with your tongue, can't you? You can really burn people. It says the whole course of your life. So how does that happen? You're going to go, oh, come on, that's a little exaggeration. No, think about it. How does it happen? How does anything happen? It happens by one thing happening, and then another, and then another. It sets off a chain reaction, doesn't it? Doesn't it? Set off a chain reaction? Do you ever do that? Do you ever say something, and all of a sudden it starts a spiral? It takes on a life of its own you can't even control. I used to always say, Daryl and I used to talk about this. When I used to say, say something nice, just one thing. One thing. Do one nice act, do one kind thing, say one nice thing, and then add one to that, right? You want to change the way you live, you want to change the course of your life, change your speech. Be intentional about how you talk. Be intentional about the words that you choose to say. When it says set on fire by hell, what it's talking about is Gehenna. Gehenna was a dump outside of Jerusalem that was always on fire. It was a metaphor for fire. And they understood that. And it's saying your tongue can be like that, can set things on fire, just like hell, just like Gehenna. Then he goes on to talk about all different kind of things, right? He talks about, animals being tamed and all that kind of stuff, right? But what he's saying is this. He's saying that he's not saying these things so that you reason, oh my God, it's so hard. Well, why try? I was going to give up. That's not what he's saying. What he's saying is that if you're not careful, this is what's going to happen by your words. By your words. The third thing is this. We just talked about it a little bit. My words display who I am. My words display who I am. James 3, 9 through 12. With the tongue, we praise our Lord and Father. And with the same tongue, we curse men who have been made in God's likeness. Out of the same mouth come praises and cursing. My brothers, this should not be. Both fresh water and salt water, can both fresh water and salt water flow from the same spring? My brothers, can a fig tree bear olives or a grapevine bear figs? Neither can a salt spring produce fresh water. So think about that. What is the real you? What's the real you? I've talked to many people about different experiences throughout their life and coming to church. I mean, maybe hopefully not here, but I mean, experienced before. You've been in church. You go outside, everybody get in their cars, and you're in the parking lots, and you wonder, like, who are these people, right? Well, the way they're behaving, the way they're, the gestures, hand gestures they may be giving to you, what I'm saying, right? And so, like, how can this be? Like, who's the real person here? We come to church and we present ourselves, right, the way we think that others, see us, or we want to be seen in a certain way, and so we present a certain way. Our hearts, just think of it like this. If you just keep this phrase in your mind, our hearts show through our mouth. Your heart shows through your mouth. Now, I'm gonna read some things to you, and I want you to think about these, and I want you to maybe even think of your own. Think of a harsh tongue. A harsh tongue reveals an angry heart. How about a negative tongue? A negative tongue. You know negative people, right? A negative tongue. What does it reveal? Well, it reveals a couple things. It can reveal a fearful heart or a jealous heart. See, your heart's being revealed through your mouth. It just is. How about an overactive tongue? An overactive tongue. An insecure heart. I am sometimes. Oftentimes I am. And so I fill space with language because I'm a little insecure about myself and who I am. Right? Listen, I don't want to be like that. I want to change. I want to grow. But listen, your heart's revealed by your mouth. That's all I'm saying. Right? You can deny anything you want, but it's just true. A filthy tongue, it reveals an impure heart. A critical tongue, a bitter heart. A hurtful tongue. You ever meet somebody with a hurtful tongue? Right? The words they say just are like daggers into your own heart, right in your back. It reveals a wounded heart. Much like a positive tongue reveals a joyful heart or a healing heart. Hopefully you've met people like this before, that their words are like a balm or a salve on a wound, and it just makes you feel better, their words. An upbeat tongue is a happy heart. How about an inclusive tongue? An inclusive tongue. A loving heart. Now these are mine. These are my ideas. You might have your own. A quiet tongue. Well, I wrote this one down, and I wrote it down, and I circled, I underlined it. A quiet tongue reveals a wise heart. A wise heart. What does your tongue say about you? You know, and that's just for you. It's not, you know, don't be thinking right now the person sitting next to you or behind you, or, right? This is for you. So evaluate yourself. What do I think, right? What do I or ask your spouse. Or ask somebody that knows you well. What's my tongue revealing about me? What's it revealing about my heart? If I had a tape recording of you, of everything you said this past week, in every situation you were in, how would you feel about me playing it in front of everybody here today? I hope that you could say, yeah, play it in front of anybody you want. Totally fine with it. So, I wouldn't want very many people to hear that tape, right? And so our tongue is revealing who we are. So how do what does James say about this? How do we go about, not the transformation of the heart yet, but how do we go about guarding our language and protecting our futures and what we have now, right? Because, listen, I hope that you're all 100% in for transformation. Hope that you believe like I believe the Bible's for transformation, not information. I hope you believe that you pray and you say, God, you know, like David prayed, create in me what? Create in me a new heart. I need it. And I'll participate in it. I'm not looking for, you know, the bewitched twinkling of the nose thing and all of a sudden, no, I'm participating in this, right? But God, I'm going to be as open as I can to allow you to come in and soften my heart, create in me a new heart. But in the meantime, there are things that we can do along the way. Number one is this. Learn to listen. Learn to listen. Learn to listen. Did you hear me? Listen, friends, I'm speaking this more to me than I am to any one of you out there. Learn to listen. Not just enough so you can formulate the next brilliant thing that you're going to say. That's what I do, right? Like, learn to really listen. Now, what I mean by that is this. I told you the movie I just saw, Mr. Rogers, right? It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. He listened, and you know what he heard? He heard the message behind the words. Like he listened to the words, but he knew, I don't think it's about that. Now, that's not something that just everybody does, right? That takes discernment. That takes God in your life, right? Helping you, but to listen wisely. So listen. So what I talked about before, right? So if you're taking your notes, go back and look. And so let's say you hear hurtful words. How many have ever heard hurtful words before? Anybody? Heard hurtful words before, right? So what you can do is you can hear the words and let them impact you, and get upset and then say hurtful words right back. Or you can listen to hurtful words and you can go, that's a wounded heart. Those words, I'm not going to let them bother me, because the bigger issue is the wounded heart. This was you watched the movie Mr. Rogers. It was brilliant, huh, Pete? It was just brilliant. He lived his life. It wasn't perfect, and he lets you know that in the movie, right? I mean, lets you know, his life wasn't perfect. He didn't talk about being perfect. It wasn't about that. But he listened for something deeper. If you experience somebody in your life and their reaction to something is out of proportion to what happened, you follow what I'm saying? I always go back to the fight Michelle and I had over dumplings. We fought and argued, we talked for days over dumplings. Now, that's not right, is it? No, how dumplings are made, that's not, the fight wasn't proportionate to that. So what does that tell you? There's something else going on here. Am I right? So when you hear hurtful words, like, that's coming. What they're revealing is the heart. And you go, there's a wounded heart there. There's a wounded heart. And that should make you sad. What it should do is, compassion should well up in your heart. If you're listening, really listening. And you're not just hearing, you're not just evaluating on the surface stuff, right? If you're really listening, you'll develop compassion because you realize there's something so much deeper behind that. So here are some good practical things. Well, James 1:19 says this: everyone should be quick to listen. Everyone should be quick to listen. And Proverbs 18:13 says this: he who answers before listening. Now I know some of you are just like me. Not all of you, but some of you are just like me. Right? You hear a few things, right? You hear a few things, and you're formulating what? What you're about to say, and you miss everything else. So it says, he who answers before listening, that is his folly and shame. That's his folly and shame. So here are some good tips. Good listeners listen first with their eyes. With their eyes. You ever talk to somebody and they're looking past you? Anybody? And you feel like, what are you looking at? You know what I'm saying? Or they have their phone, right? And they're talking, they're listening, and they go like this, right? How does that make you feel? It makes you feel like this. They're not listening, right? So you first listen with your eyes. You listen with your eyes, and then you do this. So they call it a loop, right? You listen with your eyes, and then you complete the loop, because then you give feedback to what you heard. There was this unnerves me, but I really know that somebody is listening. And I have one person in mind out in Missouri that I would talk, and when I was done, there was silence. That unnerves me. Silence unnerves me a little bit. But you have to learn to be okay with silence, because you know why? Somebody is now, they heard what you said. Now they're thinking about what you said. Somebody's not just rolling off their tongue, right? They're thinking about what you said or processing it. Because why? They want to give you a wise response. But you know what? I don't let people do that oftentimes. There's a couple seconds of silence, and so I keep talking. And I stop again, wait for something. If they don't talk within a second or two, I'm right back at it again. And listen, friends, I know I'm telling on myself, but the point is this. The point is I gave this message. This is stuff I know. Why is it that I look at it again today, I really need this stuff. It's a year later. A year later, and I'm still being a smartass to the inspector in my house, like I'm going to convince him to, you know more than me. You're all good. I'm going to leave. He's never going to say that, is he? Never. but I still haven't learned. But I want to. So, I'll tell you, I'll give you a story. A woman goes out with two, and this is so funny because I have a friend I haven't seen in years and years and years, but Pete knows him, Phil Yoakley. He's just like this, the second person in this story. Just amazing to me. I've never met another person like him before in my life. Here's the story. A woman goes out with two famous people on consecutive nights. After two encounters, a friend asked about what her thoughts were of the two men. She said, after the first night, I thought the man was the most brilliant, talented, and funny man in the world. She said, after the second evening, she said, I thought I was the most brilliant, talented, funny woman in the world. He listened, he laughed, and asked all about me. My friend Phil, when you leave him, you think you're the greatest person in the world. Just amazing. You know, when you leave people, are they thinking you're amazing, or are they thinking they're amazing? Rate yourself. Give yourself a number, 1 through 10. Are you a 10? Do you leave people and they think they're the greatest gift in the world? Or they leave you thinking, wow, this guy, he's amazing. He told me everything he's ever done in his life, and he's so accomplished and can do everything. Rate yourself. Do some self-reflection. 2 is this. This is simple. This is something that's been around for a long time, but learn to weigh your words. Weigh your words. James 1:9 says this: be slow to speak. I'm sure all of us, you've said things that you wish you could take back, right? Proverbs 16:23 says this: intelligent people think before they speak. Here's the thing. If you'll stop and don't say anything for a while, these people will think you're intelligent. You may not be, but they may think you are. Intelligent people think before they speak. What they say is then often more persuasive. So here, write the word think down. Do I have that in your notes? Think. This isn't, I didn't make this up. This has been around a long time. Ask yourself some questions before you speak. The T is this: is it true? God, if we would just do that one, just that one alone. That's it. Is it true, and do you know it's true? Don't you agree? How many times have you said something that you heard, you told somebody else, and then they ask you, is that true? You go, oh, that's what I heard. No, that's what I'm going to ask you. I'm not asking you that's what you heard. Is it true? Well, I don't know. Then don't say it. That's a pretty simple rule. If it's not true, and you don't know it's not true, then don't say it. Then don't say it. The H is this: is it helpful? It may be true, it just may not be helpful. In any scenario, in any situation, it may be true, it's just not helpful. The I is this: is it inspiring? Is it inspiring? The N, is it necessary? Is it necessary? It may be all those other things, but is it really necessary that I say it right now? And the K is it kind? Is it kind? You know, the Bible says something else. It says, speak the truth. Go back to the T, right? The truth. But it says, speak the truth in love. In love. Listen, you're the only one that knows. You evaluate your heart. Am I speaking the truth because I know the truth is gone? Oh, man, it's going to really get them. But it's the truth. I got to speak the truth. Now, are you doing it in love? Are you being kind? Rate yourself on that. Just rate yourself right now. Think about it. Where am I? Be honest. Do you do those things? Are you a 10? Are you a 1? Rate yourself so that a year from now, you can go back and go, you can, look back, oh man, I was a 3 in that area. I think I'm doing better. I think I'm a 3.2, right? I mean, let's be honest, this isn't This isn't quantum leaps we make here, right? It takes time. It takes time. Number 3, refrain from rage. James 1. James 1:9 says, be slow to become angry. So yesterday we were eating dinner, and I forget, one of my boys loves me so much, said, hey, let's all tell our best dad moment. And I go, maybe let's not do that. Maybe that's not a good idea. And Brock said, I'll go first. So Brock told a story. We were driving down Stone Church Road down through Finleyville. And it was my Jeep, and I was looking for my charger for my phone, right? And I said, Brock, it's under your seat. And so Brock's down there trying to pull it out. I go, Brock, did you get it? He goes, no, it's stuck. I go, what do you mean it's stuck? I just pull it out. He goes, I can't get it out. It's stuck. I go, Brock, just get the thing out. I mean, how can it be stuck? If something just trapped there, whatever, get it out, whatever, And finally, I get so, is the word mad? I'm not sure if the word's mad. But I get so frustrated that I pull off the road, and I get out of the car, Brock. He gets out of the car. And I'm looking underneath there, and you know how the one end is the USB, right? And the other end, it's not the new iPhone, it's the old one that was bigger, you know what I mean, or whatever, it plugs in there or whatever. And so it's through this hole, but the hole is like, it's pinching the cable, and the cable's small, that the cable won't even move. I'm thinking, how in the world, I said, did that thing get through there? It can't get through there. It just can't. And I go, Brock, what did you do? He goes, I didn't do anything. I go, but it won't come out. I can't understand why it won't even slide. And I'm getting more and more mad. I'm thinking, what is going on here? I said, Brock, there's no way. How does this thing get through here? Look at this. He looks at it and goes, Dad, I don't know. Hey, you had to do something, son. Did you pull it the wrong way, or what did you? Dad, I didn't do anything. I couldn't move it. Finally, I pull it just snaps. Piece is stuck in there, and I took the thing, I whipped it down. Brock's, he's laughing so hard, it goes flying out the trailer court down there. I get back in. We drive away. Brock's just, he's quiet in the car, you know what I mean? I don't know what you did, son. Yeah, I didn't do anything. Next day, I'm in my Jeep, and I put the seat up to get in the back seat. I put the seat up, and that piece that was stuck in there goes like, it falls out. That's how. All the stories they told about me were, I think, about rage. When you're angry, words come easily, don't they? How many of you, when you get angry, are you the most eloquent person in the world? Oh my gosh. So good at it. Listen, who has control of your anger? You do. You do. You don't believe me? You're thinking, no. Come on. Okay, I've been telling on myself. I'm going to tell on Michelle. You have your phone? You have your phone? Yeah. Let me see your phone. Michelle and I are in the midst of a heated argument. She's mad at me, and she's yelling at me, and I'm mad at her and everything, and her phone rings, and she said, hello? Oh, yeah, yeah. Come on, right? Am I right? Isn't that the truth? You have control of your anger. Like you just do. You just choose not to control it. Isn't that the truth? You just choose not to. Because you have total control over it. At any time you want, you can just stop. You can just say no more. Right? I told a story of Samson, the whole story of Samson, back and forth, right? The Philistines, tit for tat, picks up the jawbone, kills 1,000 Philistines. At any time, he picked up the jawbone, any time he could do what? Just drop it. You have complete control of your anger. Rate yourself. Rate yourself on that. I don't get a very high score. 4 is this. With your language, learn to bring others up, not tear them down. Bring others up, not down. James 3, 9 through 10. With the tongue we praise our Lord and Father, and with it we curse men who have been made in God's likeness. My brothers, my sisters, it shouldn't be. So he says it shouldn't be. Ephesians 4:29. Don't use foul or abusive language. Don't use foul or abusive language. Let everything you say be good and helpful, so that your words will be an encouragement to those who hear them. Ephesians 4:29. Did you hear that? Don't use foul or abusive language. It's just words. It's just words, right? Well, it's not that they're not just words. They are just words. But they carry deep meanings, don't they? And it's revealing who you are. Say whatever you want. That's just the truth. It's just revealing who you are. Don't use foul or abusive language. Let everything you say be good and helpful. Go back to think. So that your words will be an encouragement to those who hear them. Evaluate yourself. And look at your evaluation. And be honest. How am I doing? How am I doing? I'm really pretty poor in some areas. Other areas, not so bad. What can I do to change? Because the real problem, right? The real problem, we said this already, put in your notes, the real problem, it's a heart problem. Matthew 12:34 says this, out of the overflow of the heart, the mouth speaks. The mouth speaks. What are you filling your heart with? What are you allowing in? The solution is for your heart to be changed from the inside out. It's the only way. Let me read that. David prayed for a new heart, right? A truly wise person. Last week we talked about wisdom, didn't we? Talked about wisdom. Isn't it easy to see other people's choices and go, that wasn't wise? Isn't it? How many of you look at your kids and go, oh, it's so easy to see. How can they not see that's not wise? It's so easy. How many of you see in your own decisions where it wasn't a wise decision? It's a little harder. Why? Because you want what you want. And you're going to get what you want. And so, yeah, it may be wise, but a truly wise person uses few words. A person with understanding is even-tempered. Proverbs 17. Even fools are thought wise when they keep silent. With their mouths shut, they seem intelligent. Proverbs 29. There is more hope for a fool than for someone who speaks without thinking. Wow. I wish that one wasn't in Proverbs. I don't know if you're reading Proverbs, like I suggested you do, like just one chapter a day. It's super simple. I mean, it doesn't take you but a minute to read a chapter. You know what I mean? And just allow that chapter to soak in you. And you're going to read stuff like this. You're going to come across on the 29th of January, there's more hope for a fool than for someone who speaks without thinking. And you can go, wow, I often speak without thinking. Proverbs 16. On the 16th of this month, you'll read something like this. The wise are known for their understanding, and pleasant words are persuasive. Well, I needed that yesterday with my inspector, or Friday with my inspector, huh? Right? Pleasant words are persuasive. Mine weren't pleasant words. They weren't pleasant at all. I was being a smart aleck. I'm not going to get you anywhere in life. And I'm 59 years old. I think I'd learned by now. And I'm surprised when my kids do things, I go, man, I can't believe you guys. And I'm thinking, I'm no different. According to this verse, well, let me just stop there. I have a book recommendation in there too. I think I did. I put that in there. A book recommendation for you. Listen to this. So about our brain, it's kind of in this book. There are 12 dynamics that can change your brain. Literally. Now I'm not speaking figurative right now. I mean literally change your brain. It changes the shape of your brain. Changes the way your brain works. 12 things have been proven. Number 1, relax. Relax. 2, stay present. Stay present. Engage in the moment. Cultivate inner silence. Increase positivity. Ruminate on your deepest values. Access pleasant memories. Observe nonverbal cues. You see, I hope you tie in all these things to this message you just heard today. Express appreciation. You ready? Speak warmly, slowly, briefly, and listen deeply. Man, wouldn't the world just be a different place? If we just started just to take take thoughts like this before us today, and just this year change 10% in our life, just 10%. That's all. I'm not saying incorporate all this and be fully this in 1 year. I'm saying just in 1 year, grown 10%. I think I lost percentage over the past year. I'm going to grow just 10%. Why can't that be a goal? Right? Right? About doing it all along, cooperating with God, asking God for a new heart, right? And looking for opportunities to demonstrate that in your life. To change who you are and how you interact with the world around you. That's it. We're all done. Listen, I think this is good. You heard it last year. Heard the exact message last year. How much of it seemed new this year? Probably most of it, right? Wow. It's like I never heard that before. It's good stuff. Take it. Take the notes. Even if you take one. Listen, I implore you, take one thing, just one thing, and go. You know what? Yeah, that one. I need to work on that one. That's going to be my goal. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to work on that one. What are all the rest? Yeah, that has to be the year after, but this year I'm going to do that one. Because it can seem kind of daunting, right? Oh, God, it's so much. I don't know if I can do all this stuff. Yeah. Just start somewhere. Take one step, one positive step. Say one positive word. And you begin to see change in your life. And what you'll be doing during that is allowing God to go, okay, I need to be quiet. Let me listen. Stand with me. I'm thankful that God cares so much about us that we have things like this before us in the Bible that we can read. And and it's not condemnation. It's not at all condemnation. It's about being the best version of me I can be. That's what it's about. It's about helping change this world and make it a better place. To make Pleasant Hills and Jefferson Hills a more loving place. If Freedom Life Center just started to live like this, and other people started to see that and started to live like that. And we start changing the world by changing our heart. Let's pray. God, we ask right now that a message like this wouldn't seem overwhelming, wouldn't seem critical, it wouldn't make me feel necessarily guilty, but it would inspire me to be the best version of me that I can be. It would inspire me to be a better husband, to be a better father, to be a better friend, an employee, employer, just to be better, to change the world. God, and we start by asking you, allowing you, please do your work and create in us a new heart and allow it to change. We thank you for it in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen. Thanks, friends. Have